So all morning, I've been feeling, thank you. All morning, I've been feeling it is so kind of surreal to come back here and to be on this stage again, where it feels perfectly natural to be on this stage, and yet it's a part of my past, and it is always part of my present, because this is where I got my start in this philosophy. This is where I did my training, and this is where my heart is. When I think about coming home, this is where I think of. And so I'm so grateful to be here, and thank you all for coming to listen to the few things I have to say today. I asked Kevin to sing that song today so we could get the Broadway reference out of the way. There are no more Broadway references, not in my talk, unless one comes to mind. So I want to start today with asking a question. I want to ask you this question: why do you come here on a Sunday? This is a rhetorical question. I go through this with my community because I'll ask a question, and unless I say it's a rhetorical question, all of a sudden they'll all start shouting answers at me. But I want you to consider for yourself, for just a moment, take a moment to consider for yourself, why do you come here on a Sunday? What is it that draws you here? And now I'm going to ask you another question. Are you one of those people, no judgment, who only comes here when they feel good? And they're like, oh, you know what? Life is unfolding beautifully, and I'm going to go celebrate this at the Global Truth Center. Or are you one of those people who thinks along these lines? My life is falling apart around me. I cannot possibly go out in public, so I don't want to go to the Global Truth Center because I don't want to be seen as something other than what they expect of me. Because we come here with a lot of expectations, right? We come here with the idea of, well, we all live these beautiful lives, and yes, that is true. And yes, we all come here and say, love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. And sometimes I think we forget that, with all due respect, stuff happens. I was going to use a more colorful word, but to have this idea that you should not show up here on a Sunday or at any time because your life is falling apart around your ears is a huge misconception. And I call that RSBS. And I do mean religious science. You fill it in. Because I think James would probably have a fit if I actually said it out loud. So what is RSBS? Here's what RSBS is. It is denial. It is denial. That's all it is. Because we come here, and there are people who are in this philosophy, and I've encountered a lot of them, and again, no judgment, and yet, these are the people that you encounter, and they say, how's your life going? Oh, everything is wonderful. I am filled with and living life as God. And you know that they're full of BS. RSBS. That is RSBS. And you know what? I am up here to tell you today, I am tired of it. I am tired of it. Because we teach in this philosophy, and this is how I want to launch off, because I get to launch off the Declare It month, right? I want to launch off this month by saying, you get to declare in your life that you are the presence of the divine spirit embodied in this individualized form and unique and beautiful, and that is the truth. But to the degree that you embody it and feel it is the degree to which you will be living it. There are plenty of people who give this philosophy a lot of lip service. And I'm done. I am done. So, I'm going to encourage all of you, show up even when you think you shouldn't. If life is falling apart around your ears, this is the place to show up, because this is the place where you can get the help to lift you back up into the expression of life that you deserve, quite frankly. That's the truth. That is the truth. What would you be telling the universe by not showing up? You might be telling the universe, I'm not worth it. And so it is. I am less than compared to others, and so it is. I certainly don't want to be seen there. They're so happy all the time. I wouldn't want them to be in judgment of me, and so it is. What kind of declarations are these? Because those are declarations. Those are assumptions. It is what you have taken on. You have assumed in your life a role. And whatever you assume, whatever you declare, is what you become. And then there's that phrase that drives me crazy. Oh my God, that is so off principle. As though I am the arbiter of what is principled in your life. If anybody ever says that to you, especially if it's a practitioner, get thee to another practitioner. The truth is, now here's the truth. Here is the spiritual truth, the truth with a capital T. We are arbiters of a principle, a divine principle. And here's what it basically boils down to. Ernest Holmes writes this: anyone can heal who believes he can. Anyone can heal who believes he can and will take the time to set that belief in motion through the law. But what it takes is declaration. What it takes is tenacity. What it takes, in many cases, is courage to speak your truth and not be swayed from it. That's what it takes. So if there are things in your life that maybe you feel embarrassed by, that you look at and you think, wow, that really needs healing in my life, you're in charge. Practitioners can help you, ministers can help you, but ultimately it is your receptivity to a divine idea that is always flowing through you, and it is responding perfectly to your thought at all times. I loved this morning in the meditation that this wonderful quote of Ernest Holmes was brought up. There are no mistakes, there never have been, and mistakes can never be made. I'm paraphrasing it terribly because I didn't write it down. There are no mistakes. There never have been mistakes, and there never will be mistakes. There never can be mistakes, because the law works perfectly. God cannot make mistakes. If you're experiencing something in your life that you feel is a mistake, that is an assumption on your part that that is your declaration in life, that you are living a mistake. It is your choice to look at life as a mistake or not. The things in your life as mistakes or not. And when you decide something new, you cannot help but have that experience. That's the way this whole thing works. It is so simple, and we complicate it so much. Healing is also not just the physical. We do have our foundation in physical healing, in healing of disease, but it is not just physical. It is a revealing process. I get laughed at now because I've taken on the pronunciation of that word as process, because I live in Canada now, as opposed to process. Whatever works. Our roots are in the physical, but healing is a revealing process. When we reveal the spiritual truth about anything in our lives, we heal. We heal it. We heal it. Ernest Holmes tells us we are surrounded by an infinite possibility. We are surrounded by an infinite possibility. So, here's my question. What does that mean to you? Do you recognize yourself as part of that infinite possibility? We are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe governed by our use of a spiritual law, the law of cause and effect. Those are the great words of Dr. David Walker, and those perfectly sum up the divine principle. You are divine principle in action. Now, the way we use the spiritual law, and this philosophy really is about the use of cause and effect. That's the law. We use cause and effect. The way we use it is up to us. Oh, isn't that great? We get to choose what we live. But it's up to us and us alone. And our belief sets the limit to a demonstration of a principle that is without limit. So the only thing that is limiting your expression of life is you, your belief. And that belief is grounded in feeling. So, and I'm going to go back to last month for just a moment. So, anything is possible. Now, you guys finished it up by saying because everything is possible. But I'm going to change it a little bit. Anything is possible because everything is probable. Because everything that ever has been, everything that ever will be, everything that ever could be, already exists in a universal mind, and it is simply up to us to be open channels of receptivity to that. When we tap into the infinite probability through the act of declaration, we change our lives. So the question then becomes, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to act with the information that you now have? I don't mess around. I am 100% of the time, well, 99.9% of the time, I can call myself on my 0.1%. Okay, maybe 0.5%. I am 99.5% of the time on top of my thinking. And boy, when I am not on top of it, I see where my life goes. But the great news is I've narrowed that gap of recognizing the circumstances in my life and understanding the cause behind them, because the cause behind them is my mind. Are we using ourselves as God constructively? We are at choice, and no one can tell us that we are using it incorrectly. No one can tell us that we are using this power incorrectly. We are at choice in the way we use this power. I will suggest don't use the power to harm other people. You're at choice. You are the sole arbiter of the use of spirit in your life, which then brings me back to the original question. Why do you come here on a Sunday? And there are many camps. And there are two that I see a lot in my ministry. There are those who won't show up, even though it would help them feel better. And then there are those who show up because it supports their tale of woe. It supports their tale of woe because they come here and they're told something, but they're actually in a vicious cycle that they may not recognize. I'm going to demonstrate the cycle for you for just a moment. May I have my volunteers? You want that one? Okay, so they're going to go on the wireless. All right, Caressa, I'm going to have you be here. Nancy?
Yes.
All right, so this is how we're setting this up. Caressa is my practitioner, and I'm here on a Sunday, and I'm going to speak with my practitioner because I've got something going on in my life. Nancy is my friend, and when I leave here on a Sunday, I'm going to go have a chit-chat with my friend over coffee. Here's how this works. I show up on a Sunday morning. Oh, my life is falling apart around my ears. I have horrible relationships. I have no money in my bank account. My job really sucks. I'm just feeling, and you know, just life sucks for me, Caressa. What am I going to do? Can you help me? I see you're a practitioner. Please help me.
This could take some time. Jonathan.
Yes.
What you need to know is that you are at choice, and you need to make up your mind what you want.
Oh.
And I really feel like you will be fine. Just you need to know that your life is unfolding perfectly.
Okay. Wow, that feels pretty good. My life is unfolding perfectly.
Yeah, that's right.
All is unfolding perfectly in my life. Okay, I can get on board with that. Yeah, that feels really good. Hey, let's go have some coffee, Nancy.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
How you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm great.
That's awesome. So, you know what? My life is falling apart around my ears.
Oh, yeah?
I have no money. My job sucks. My relationships suck.
God,
Just life is really awful.
That's terrible.
Isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. See, someone who
Jeez.
understands.
God, it just breaks my heart for you. I
Doesn't
feel
it?
so
Oh,
bad.
thank you.
You poor
commiserate with
thing.
me. Oh, it feels so good to have somebody who really understands
I
this.
do.
Thank you.
Really, really do.
Oh,
Jonathan.
thank you. Okay, so I finished my coffee time with Reverend Nancy, not being very reverent in that moment. I told her to do that, just for the demonstration. So I leave, and then I'm like, oh, well, this is what I'm left with. This is now the tendency in my mind, which I have now supported by going to my friend and telling them my tale of woe. And so I go through my week, and life gets harder and harder and harder. And oh my gosh, do I really have to go back to the Global Truth Center because they're going to be in judgment of me because my life is not unfolding the way that Caressa said it should? All right, I'm going to go. I'll talk to Caressa again. Caressa, my life is falling apart around my ears.
Smack! No, just kidding. I'm just kidding. I would never do that.
That's good to know. My life is falling apart around my ears. What am I going to do?
Jonathan.
Yes.
Jonathan. Okay. I really feel we need more time. Listen, okay, so what you need to do is focus on the good in your life.
The good in my life.
Yes, and what you are really, what you want, what you aspire to. Don't focus on the bad, focus on what you want, and put your attention all on that.
Okay.
You keep focusing on all the bad things, and that's what keeps coming around in your life.
Wait, what? Say that again?
You keep focusing on everything that is not working in your life.
Oh. So are you telling me that if I focus on the good,
Yes.
if I focus on infinite prosperity,
Yes.
if I focus on perfect relationships,
Right.
if I focus on having infinite creative expression always at my disposal, working constructively for me, that my life is going to turn out perfectly?
Pretty much.
Wow, she's good. That feels really good. Doesn't that feel good? Yeah. Yeah. Except for the moment when I doubt it. Nancy, let me tell you about all my doubts. So you see, we can get into this vicious cycle. I can go back and forth and ping pong back and forth, and what's going to end up happening? Thank you very much. By the way, I'm going to let them off the hook now. What ends up happening is you support that which you do not want in your life because you keep getting into this vicious cycle. And really what this is this is an indication of your habitual thinking, your tendency in thought. And what Ernest Holmes is really talking about, I usually have a big old Science of Mind book on my lectern. I can't hold it up and say what he's really talking about in these 700 pages. 700 pages. What he's really talking about is not specific, this is the one demonstration that is going to fix everything for you. He is talking about shifting the tendency in our thinking process to that which is more constructive in our life. And that is what we should be declaring at all moments. There is a shift that does occur when you set your mind aright. That's the truth. Keep showing up here. Keep showing up to hear these divine statements of truth. To speak with practitioners. If something is not feeling good in your life, get thee here and speak to somebody because they can help you. And to the degree that you unfold and allow yourself to be receptive to this thinking, to this choice in thought that you get to have, you get to choose. To the degree that you really embody this, then you get to start living the life where you can say, all is well. My life unfolds gracefully and easily. And that's when it is not RSBS, religious science. That's when it's RSBS, religious science belief system. You get to declare that the spiritual truth is your truth. And when you feel that, when you go to that place and you can say to yourself, all is unfolding perfectly in my life, and the inner voice does not deny it, then you have embodied this teaching. This is all about a deep exploration and recognition that is ever unfolding in our lives. And that's one of the great things. There's no destination to great living. Great thought is great living. And it's unfolding always. Belief sets the limit to your demonstration that is backed by a principle that is without limit. Inherently, you are without limit. Take a stand today and declare into the universal whatever it is you desire. Allow that to resonate in a feeling place. You are unlimited. Your life is unlimited. You are a spiritual being living in a spiritual universe, and you are governed by your use of a power, a spiritual law. Declare that today. This is stepping into your personal religious science belief system. And your personal result, actually, here's the great news. Your personal result helps others. Because people see you and they say, like when Harry met Sally, I love when James does this, I'll have what she's having, or I'll have what he's having. People see you living an extraordinary life, they want some. And by living this principle, you awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence and create a world that works for everyone. Namaste.